It's already been 2 weeks since FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried have been exposed as the frauds they are, and the FTX exchange has collapsed. And as I continue to dig deeper and deeper each day into this story and provide you all with the facts, I started watching some old interview clips from Sam Bankman-Fried and another key figure. During that process, I believe I uncovered a motive, which you'll see later on in this video. But first, please subscribe and like this video. Also comment what you think is the craziest part of this FTX collapse story. I'm very interested to see what you think. Let's get into the motive. The newly appointed majority whip, Tom Emmer from Minnesota, said that he blames Sam Bankman-Fried and SEC Chair Gary Gensler for the FTX collapse and the industry's current state. FTX is a centralized exchange, and the attractive portion of investing in cryptocurrency and buying and selling in cryptocurrency is the decentralization aspect, so we won't be regulated by clowns like this guy, Gary Gensler.
We've got major questions, Charles. I mean, look, Gary Gensler and the SEC, apparently they had meetings last March with Sam Bankman-Fried and executives from FTX and a trading firm here in the U.S., and they were working apparently with Sam Bankman-Fried and others to give them special treatment from the SEC that others aren't getting. And they announced a partnership with this trading firm last April. We kept trying to find out what exactly the partnership is all about. We didn't get those answers. And obviously, Sam Bankman-Fried then was pushing special treatment legislation through Congress.
Tom Emmer was spot on in that last clip. Gary Gensler and his cohorts have to be exposed for what they are currently doing with FTX and have done previously. Listen to this clip from 2021 where SBF kind of lets the cat out of the bag for why they are so interested in regulating specifically stablecoins.
FTX operates all over the world, including in many emerging markets. And historically, a lot of emerging markets, particularly not fully open ones, have attempted to limit the ability of people to get dollar-denominated assets. And people might want dollarized assets, and yet that might be something that, is limited, or banks only allow so much. Could stablecoins, the fact that I could send you a stablecoin just from my phone to your phone anywhere in the world, regardless, are some of the other markets that you operate in, is that a source of anxiety for them?
It absolutely is. And I think there's sort of a few ways to look at this. One, from sort of a U.S. strategic point of view, thinking about what is the reserve currency of the crypto economy going to be. Yeah. And right now, it's unambiguously the U.S. dollar. And interestingly, it's the U.S. dollar whether or not you're looking at American crypto economy. If you look at European crypto transactions, Asian crypto transactions, Latin American, African, no matter where you look, there's the local on-ramps where people figure out how to get from their local currency into crypto. But once they're in crypto, they're going back and forth between Bitcoin and US dollar stable coins. So right now, 95% of transactions are happening against, a US dollar or US dollar pegged asset. And I think that that's probably good for the U.S. strategically. And, I think there's a serious risk if regulations on stablecoin become unworkable in the future, that while everyone is pretty happy right now with that, that could change to a different currency. Maybe it changes to euro or yen, or maybe it changes to RMB. So that's sort of one side. When you look at it from the local government's perspective, what we found is what they care about the most is the step where the user goes from their local currency to something that isn't their local currency. And so when a user is going back and forth between Bitcoin and USDC or Bitcoin and Tether, the local governments don't tend to care very much because it's already not in their local currency. Like, to the extent that there is something they're trying to combat, that already happened. And frankly, when someone's going between US dollars and USD stablecoin, they don't care that much because, again, that's already happened. But the case where you often do see a lot of regulation is around going from local currency to non-local currency.
I find it very convenient timing that as we transition from the petrodollar and oil in general, we now have a push to control the cryptocurrency market backed by the US dollar.
A lot of different countries where there clearly is some concern from them about this being used as a vehicle to move money out of their economic control.
Here's an article about SEC Chairman Gary Gensler being concerned about Bitcoin competing with the U.S. banking system. Later on in the article, he states that stablecoins may provide competition to centralized banks, and as we all know, competition to centralized banks is very bad to the regulators. But competition in a truly free market society is a wonderful thing. Before Gary Gensler was the SEC head, he was a teacher at MIT teaching blockchain technologies and cryptocurrencies at none other than MIT, where Sam Bankman-Fried and a lot of other FTX members attended university.
Financial stability. Central bankers around the globe sort of, will this shake finance? Well, it's only 200 billion. The financial markets are 300 trillion plus. Not yet is generally what they're saying. But for some countries, it's a way to get around capital controls. And so for those countries worried about capital controls, it's a very real and live set of issues. Does anybody know what the worldwide capital market size is? Anybody want to guess? You know, this is 200 billion. What's it look like? I've already said it's modest.
Hundreds of trillions?
Hundreds of trillions. Global equity, about 80 trillion. Global bond and debt markets, 250 trillion.
While at MIT, he worked at the highly esteemed Media Lab. Here he is presented on their website. This is also the same place where they've created Project Hamilton, where they're building a hypothetical centralized banking currency with the help of Boston's central bank, Canada's central bank, and England's central bank, which I'm sure they all have our best interest at heart. And here's Gensler giving himself and the rest of the MIT Media Lab a pat on the back.
Favorite or a project that you admire and just think is particularly interesting in this space?
MIT's digital currency initiative. Okay. So I've got to come back to the home base.
Perfect.
Home base. I think what Neha and Taj and the others have put together is great.
Yeah.
Truly is unbelievable, the arrogance of each one of these critical players in the FTX fallout. Thanks for watching. Please comment below your thoughts on the video and the FTX fallout as a whole. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you next time.